Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I am Kevin Kietzman, your humble host in the seat for the next hour, leading you up to the Vince Show. And man, I'm jammed with topics today. We're going to do a segment on winning. And I usually I have a one sheet for the show that I put together every day. I'm out of room. I got nothing. There's so much winning going on. I got nothing left here. It'll be a miracle if I can get it all in on the broadcast today. Things are going so well in so many places. Also, later, we'll talk a little bit about Travis Kelce, who's made some comments about coming back and playing. Sounds pretty optimistic. At the same time, a watchdog group is all over Travis Kelce's charity, 87 and running. And it's a really good reason why. And I'm absolutely giving Travis Kelce the benefit of the doubt on this one. We'll explain it later in the show. Not much of the money that he's been raising for 87 and running has been going to the kids. That's all I can really tell you at this point, so we'll tease that. We'll have that for you coming up in about a half an hour or so. Tiger Woods is throwing a big birthday party for himself for his 50th. Wait until you hear about this. And, of course, we will talk later about the amazing win by the Kansas Jayhawks last night. If you don't follow sports and college basketball, whatever, just trust me. What happened last night, and Bill Self his whole career has just done nothing but win every close game. You know, we gave the stat last week that going into the final week of the NFL season, if you reverse the outcome of every NFL game that was decided by one score, the Chiefs would have been the 1 seed in the AFC, and the Broncos would have been dead last in the entire AFC. So winning close games is all sports is about. That's it. And we watched Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do that. Bill Self has made a living winning every close game. The difference with this one was it wasn't a close game. They were just getting drilled. KU was just getting lit up and came back. And once they got it close in the end, TCU puked and KU did everything right at the end. It was fantastic.
I don't think I've ever seen KU let an opponent score 100 points and then KU still wins the game.
Yeah, that's about right. There might have been some old games against like Kentucky in the non-con or something that were just wild shootouts, but not where they were getting pounded. They were just getting drilled in that game. That was unbelievable, truly unbelievable. But we will start today. Let's talk oil. I know it sounds like a really greasy topic, something kind of dirty for your hands, and the Democrats want to play this up like it's a bad thing because, they hate oil. They hate all things that are good for us. They hate us being free. They hate us having our own cars. They want us to all jam into buses and trains and all kinds of mass transit. They want to force EVs on us. They don't want us to live the way that we have chosen to live the last 100 years or so. But let's compare oil to drugs, because really that's what all this is about. With Venezuela, the Caribbean, 2 tankers taken today. We're going to get into that. You've been hearing the headlines on this through Operation Southern Spear. And Southern Spear apparently leads all the way to the North Atlantic now. It's not just the Caribbean, because we've tracked down an Iranian tanker with a Russian flag. While Russian submarines and ships were following her, we said we didn't care. We've taken her. We're taking the oil. I find it, I don't know, man. I just feel good today. I just feel good about all of this right now. I just find it kind of fun. I used to think it was great following sports. I love sports. But sports can get mundane and boring. You know what doesn't get mundane and boring? Following Trump's moves, right? So here's what we do. We use the military and we take over the oil tankers. We just seize them. We just take them. Like if you watch this in a movie, you go, no way. No. The military's out there doing that. I mean, yes, we fly a Coast Guard chopper around these ships to make it look like it's the Coast Guard. But we went in on the Russian ship, and this was the same night Delta Force that took over this tanker with a Russian flag today in the North Atlantic. It was the same group that went in to get Maduro. We're sending these people everywhere on this operation, and they seized the ship. Now, the one they took in the Caribbean was much easier, and I think that was a cutter or something that just kind of landed on there and said, hey, we're going to sail this to America, okay? So we take the oil ships, but we just use drones and bomb the drug boats and kill everybody on board and blow up the drugs. The drugs are useless to us. Like, you could bomb these tankers. Wouldn't be good. Really, really nasty for the ocean. There'd be oil everywhere. And, but the real difference is we take the oil and we sell it. And Trump's going to do that. He announced yesterday he's taking up to 50 million barrels of oil from Venezuela that they have just sitting there that they were getting ready to ship. We're taking it. It's coming here. We're going to sell it, or we're going to refine it, or we're going to do whatever the hell we want with it. It's going to go to the people of Venezuela and the people of the United States. That sounds like a good 50-50 split to me at this point. Let's do something good for America with this. 50 million barrels of oil could wind up being about $3 billion that you could split between the two places. $3 billion is a significant amount of money. We talk about billions all the time, and it doesn't sound like much, but trust me, Trump knows how much $3 billion is and what it will do. I love this. And these ships we're taking, depending on the size, the one in the Caribbean today looked like it was really small, but the average oil tanker has about 2 million barrels of oil. So each oil tanker we take, on average, would be about $125 million worth of oil that we're seizing and bringing to the United States or selling somewhere else. This is all good. We will continue to take all the tankers that are breaking the sanctions that we put on other countries. We have put sanctions on other countries, and Venezuela has not cared. They've been sending it illegally from our sanctions, and we're just taking them now. I don't know what the tankers are worth, but they're worth millions and millions of dollars too. I guess they become our property at this point, and we do whatever we want with them. So this is pretty good. We have nothing but good things happening along this. And it was a bold move in the North Atlantic. It's not getting a lot of play on how bold it was, but when there's a Russian submarine nearby and Russian ships nearby, and they're flying a Russian flag on that tanker, and our intel tells us it's an Iranian ship breaking sanctions that was working with Maduro, and they're telling us it's an empty ship and there's no oil on it, I'll take bets right now that it's not a Russian ship and it's not empty, because we took her, and we're going to bring her back, and we're going to find out. And I love that. Trump is not messing around. He's telling the entire world. He told the interim president of Venezuela on Tuesday that they've got very simple orders now in Venezuela. Here's how this is going to work. You're going to work exclusive with us. They have closed all drilling. This isn't being heavily reported. The drilling has stopped. There is no oil drilling in Venezuela right now. Trump has said not another drop is drilled. This is how you really cut the oil flow off. Not one more drop at any refinery watching you. We have people there. We have drones. We've got everything. We know everything going on in Venezuela. Not one oil derrick working. You're done. No more oil being drilled and pumped in Venezuela until and unless you succumb to all of our wishes. And that is, you will cut off China, you will cut off Russia, you will cut off Iran, and you will cut off Cuba completely from all economic ties. It's over. You're done with all these countries. You're in power. It's the same government. It's the same military. You're just going to do what we say for now, and we'll figure the rest out later. We will sell the oil. Trump has said it publicly. We'll sell the oil to China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba. We'll let you know what the split is, what's in it for us, what our costs are. I think Trump's zero-sum game here is whatever this is all costing us, he wants to recoup. It's not inexpensive to go do these missions and do these things. So whatever it's costing us, they'll have a price on it, and he's going to want to get that back. I love this. So how much oil are we talking? Well, China was importing 700,000 barrels per day from Venezuela. This is heavy crude, heavy black crude. The U.S., prior to the invasion the other night, the extraction, we were taking about 150,000 barrels a day from Venezuela. So the multitudes here for China is it's huge. It's a lot. We're seizing 50 million. Okay, so you can run the math on that. That's, what is that, like a year's worth of oil from Venezuela that we would have? We're going to sell it off. We're willing to sell it to China, and he says he's going to sell it at market price, but we're going to control the flow, and we're going to use that as a hammer over China. Okay, China, if you're not doing things that we like, we're going to get along here. We're going to do things we're going to do economic things. Trump doesn't want to cut anybody off. He wants this oil and he wants to sell it. I understand it all. This is really simple, junior high kind of economics. If you just think of it in the grand scheme of things, we have the oil, we have control of the oil, it's going out. We don't want our enemies to have it when they're doing bad things, but they're more than willing and happy to sell it to them if you're not doing bad things. It's always about leverage and control with Trump. And that's all this is. Right now, we don't have forces on the ground. We're not in there keeping peace in Venezuela. It's not our country. The government has massive leverage against it if they want to stay in power. And they'd better listen to the United States. China and Russia want no part of this. They want the oil from Venezuela. They want no part of the United States in Venezuela. You really haven't heard any saber rattling or complaining, have you? Like the only complaint I saw anywhere yesterday was the European Union getting upset that Trump's going for Greenland next. And he is going for Greenland next. It'll just be a deal. We're not going to take it over. It's going to be a deal. It's a small country. We can buy the citizens. They can send, I heard a plan where they could give $100,000 to every household in Greenland, and it's ours. And that would be $3 billion. That'd be essentially what this oil's worth that we're taking from Venezuela. We can sell the oil from Venezuela and buy Greenland. Folks, do you see how easy this is if you're looking at it like a businessman? We have complained for decades in this country about big corporations in America. And I'm not sure why. We love mom and pop businesses. I own one and operate one. I'm a small businessman at heart. I appreciate and respect that. I wouldn't have my life any other way. Truly and honestly. Yes, this radio show, I work for a big corporation, but I don't really know them. They're out of town. They don't bother me. I do my show. Nobody says anything. It's good. If it becomes a problem and it's overbearing and they start imposing all kinds of weird things on me as an employee, I'm out of here. So we all have those options to live the way we want to live. But American corporations are great for America. They are massive economic engines. Apple Corporation is basically bigger than France. Let me state that again. One company based in Cupertino, California, is essentially bigger than the GDP of France. Okay? So these corporations are big. And so Trump knows how to run things like a corporation. And now he's taking our government and saying, we're doing this. It's not a forever war. We're not in there. We're going to leverage this against the countries we need to leverage it against. We're going to make this money. We want Greenland for strategic purposes because Russia and China are exploring the Arctic edges of it, wanting to put missile bases there and things like that. We're not going to allow it to happen. While we're still the superpower, we need to be the superpower. That's all this is, man. And I love it. And oil, sure. Let the Democrats scream this is all about oil. It ain't a war. And you're not convincing anybody it's a war. Because right now the whole world is terrified of Donald Trump. And I love it that way. 913-408-7957. That's 408-7957. If you'd like to comment, this is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Gladstone to Gardner, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
It's been a few weeks since we've done a winning report, so let's go ahead and do the wins. Today, so far, we've seized that ship in the Caribbean. That's pretty cool. We have protests taking place in Iran. They're upset with the government. The government does not know how to handle this because if they start beating them down, they're going to have full-scale riots and maybe an overthrow here. And yes, the United States is involved in this. All of this involves the United States for sure. We have police marching with protesters in Iran, and they're hanging up Trump posters. These people are like, come save us, Trump. We also have a new poll with Democrat net approval. This is unbelievable. A record low. This has never, ever happened. And this is released on January 6th of all days while they're singing God Bless America. Boy, these people just don't. Oh, my God. Minus 55 points. That's with the overall electorate. The favorability versus unfavorability, they're minus 55 underwater. This is the best part. With independent voters, people that say they're not either party, they're minus 61 points. So the entire country is waking up to the fact that Democrats are losers. And it doesn't work. And they steal and they scam and they grift and they're taking your money and they're spending it on things you don't want them to spend it about. It's just crazy, man. I saw this post. This is the Tuesday win report. Here's what happened on the 6th day of Project 2026. President Trump announces California's investigated for fraud. Kristi Noem and 2,000 ICE agents descend on Minneapolis to ruin Tim Walz Day. President Trump gives a hilarious speech to GOP members that includes both the weightlifting impression and the Trump dance. United States auto sales in 2025 recorded their best numbers since 2019. Venezuela has stopped all oil shipments to China. Greenland and Denmark have requested to meet with the future Prime Minister of Greenland, Marco Rubio. Average U.S. gas price hits 5-year low. Dow and S&P both at record highs. President Trump announces Venezuela is immediately turning over 50 million barrels of oil to the U.S. Art of the deal, abduction edition, is so entertaining. Then the Democrats have a candlelight vigil to cry about J6, and absolutely nobody cared. That's right. That's day 6 of 2026. We're off to a rousing start, as Chuck Schumer would say. We also got this news from Trump. He has extended the travel ban. Remember when they used to hammer him for being a xenophobe and everything because of the travel bans? Trump has expanded this to 39 nations now, most of the new ones Muslim countries. It's expanded and it basically says if you're from those countries, you can't travel here. We're not giving you visas. You can't come work here. You're not allowed in. It cuts Muslims that can come here from other countries, even if their relatives are here legally at this point. It cuts the number of people that could come in by more than 40%. Total restriction. This makes sense, and nobody's complaining. The things that Democrats are not complaining about is deafening. We've won this battle. These immigration things like this, they know better than to go get in front of a microphone and complain about this now. This is decided in America. Trump was right all along. We had presidents for decades saying, we got to solve the border crisis. We got an immigration problem. And they just talked about it and they ignored it. And it went away. Trump's like, this is it. When the history books are written, what Trump's going to be remembered for is his stance on immigration and what he did. And it's sticking with the American voters. It is a completely dead and lost issue for the Democrats. They've blown it. They were on the wrong side of this thing completely. You also don't hear a lot of media stories like this one out of New England. The Patriots are in the playoffs this week. They're very good. Their kicker is named Andy Borregales. I think I'm saying the name right. He was born in Venezuela. He came here as a child. His family fled because of hardship in Venezuela when the regime took over. He has been asked now by reporters in New England, well, what do you think about what Trump did? And everywhere they're going and asking Venezuelans what they think, well, this kicker for the Patriots said Venezuelans are very happy. That's his exact quote. He said that his family was dealing with hardship and he is wishing the best of luck to everything in the Trump administration and what's going on in Venezuela because he wants to go back. He doesn't want to go back and live there. He doesn't really remember it. He was a small child. He's an American. He sees himself as an American, a Bostonian, plays for the Patriots. He doesn't want to go live in Venezuela, but he wants to go back and see it, where his parents are from, where he was born, where he was as a child that he doesn't really remember. I think he moved here at 3 or 4, so he doesn't really remember. but he wants to do this. And everywhere we're turning and asking Venezuelans, they're like Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez has been quiet, to my knowledge, at this point. I don't know that anybody's asked him, and maybe he's not going to give comment for a while. But spring training's around the corner, and I can guarantee you Salvador Perez and his family are celebrating what's going on with Trump and Venezuela. And DEI dies again. NASCAR Commissioner Steve Phelps has been forced out. He was caught writing an email about one of the team owners, Richard Childress, calling him a stupid redneck because the DEI commissioner, as on his way out, in his bio, they championed equity and social justice over the last decade in NASCAR. That's what they're crediting him with, and now he's gone. DEI is dying everywhere. Winning, winning, winning. Why is Travis Kelce's charity in trouble? Next on KCMO.
Hey, it's Vince Coglianese. Catch my new show at 11 o'clock after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
All right, you heard it. Let's have a party. Go meet Riley Green. Text that to 95819. Text the word party to 95819 for your chance to win to go to the Stagecoach Music Festival in California and meet Riley Green. My wife thinks Riley Green is the hottest guy on earth. And I'm not talking about the Tigers left fielder, because there's an all-star left fielder named Riley Green as well, who plays at Kauffman Stadium a whole bunch. But Riley Green is like, the ladies love Riley Green. Guys, win this prize. Okay, text the word party to 95819. It's our keyword today for your chance to meet Riley Green at the Stagecoach Music Festival. A free trip, all expenses paid. Pretty cool stuff given away right here with Cumulus Media. Travis Kelce's charity is in trouble, and he did not address this on his podcast. He just won an award for the second time. Basically, he won the NFL Charity Challenge. And this is not the most money raised, but it is some sort of a fan vote. He's going to win a lot of fan votes, okay, because he's got Taylor Swift on his side. So he wins this charity challenge at the same time for 87 and running. At the same time, the Arizona Republic, of all places, this sounds odd, okay? The Arizona Republic is like the Kansas City Star. It's the Phoenix newspaper. But they do a thing every year that is basically they're a watchdog. They do something called the Charity Watch. And it's for good reason. There's a lot of charities in Arizona, and Scott, there are a bunch of Richie Riches and Learjets and those kind of people, and they do a bunch of this stuff here. And when you get people in areas like that, there's a lot of fraudsters around those sorts of things, right? So they weren't picking on Travis Kelce. They weren't looking at it. They basically got the books of these charities, and they published this thing, and it gets put back out there that the guy who won the thing, the Travis Kelce, who just won this charity challenge, it has been noted that his charity has not done very well at all as it's been run. Now, his managers, who are the Eanes brothers, and they're buddies of his, they're his managers, there's Posse, he runs with these guys and everything else. They've been managing the charity, and they've said publicly they're taking this and changing it completely, and it's going to be, and maybe over the last few months has been, much, much better. When they go back and look through the books, what they found was only 41 cents out of every dollar of 87 and running was actually going to programs. The rest of the money was going to staff, which was his managers, who made a pile of money, his people. If it's not already cleaned up, and my guess is that it is, let me say this first and foremost about Travis Kelce. The only blame I would put on Travis Kelce is he fell into the same trap that all athletes fall into, and that is somebody says you got to start a charity, and he goes, okay, you run it. I'll raise the money. I'll go to all the fundraisers. You tell me how to raise this money and what to do. I want to help the kids, and I want to do this for these kids. Like, he rolls up his sleeves, and he goes and hangs with them. He bought that auto body shop, and Travis Kelce's done a lot of good things with his time and his efforts and all those things. What Travis Kelce is not is a businessman. He's a broadcaster. He's a tight end. He's a fundraiser. He's a fun guy. He's a giant celebrity. He's a million things. You will never confuse Travis Kelce with being business savvy. That's not his jam. It's just not. And it's not for most players. I am unsurprised by this, seeing all this stuff from Charity Watch and what the history has been for his charity, but it is said to be on the right track now and doing much better, which I believe. Because unfortunately, what it takes for someone like Travis Kelce is for stuff like this to be made public before he makes changes, because he never would know it. He would never know that his managers are taking so much money and the programs are getting so little. The managers have stated that their goal these past few months and going forward is for 100% of all money raised to go straight to programs, which means Travis himself would fund the staff, or private people would fund, because it does cost money to run a charity. You got to pay employees. It does cost money. There are costs. The gold standard here is you want to try to hit 90%. If your big charity takes 90% to programs and what you're doing charitable and 10% to operate, that's pretty good. If you get to 100%, you're off the charts great. Obviously, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have the wherewithal to operate at 100%. That any people from, you've heard this before. We've made statements, 100% of the money donated goes straight to Children's Miracle Network telethon we did, radiothon that we did here a few weeks ago. 100% of what you all donated on this show and on this radio station went straight to the programs here in Kansas City. There were no administrative fees. There was nobody taking any cuts. There was nothing. All of it went straight to the kids. All of it. Because everything else is already covered by other mechanisms. That's where Kelsey's going to get, I feel sure. And I'll also say this. If he hasn't figured that out now, trust me, Taylor has informed him how this works. She's really good at business. She's not a tight end. She's not a podcaster. But she's a songwriter, a singer, an entertainer, and she's a hell of a businesswoman. I mean, she's Trumpian, which always blew me away that she's been so liberal. Because most of her fans are these liberal white women. They are. It's a cult. And they're all in there. The Swifties are all in there, and she's been on this abortion stuff and gone after politicians in Tennessee, things like that. I don't think that's who she is. I don't think she says yes to Travis Kelce if that's who she is. I mean, he's the ultimate testosterone, toxic masculinity man bro. You kidding me? It's the least Taylor thing ever. He's not some little 5'6" pop star guy with wavy hair. I'm telling you, she's not. She's a Tennessee girl. She's not. Taylor Swift, everything in her life except what she said publicly about Trump or politicians in Tennessee, mostly because of abortion, okay? Some women's rights things, I guess, but mostly because most of everything she said publicly, everything, I promise you, everything else in her life is conservative. Taxes, business law, the ability to own her own music. She re-recorded everything. She owns all her own music. She's done all this stuff. Now, these are conservative people, and I don't blame Travis Kelce at all. I'm not so sure if I was in my 20s, then into my 30s, and started a charity, and I was a rich, famous tight end living the good life, that I'd be watching where the money's going every year. I think I'd say, let me see the annual report. It's a pretty simple question, how much of the money's actually going to the charity. Nobody told him, and he never asked. That's his only sin, is he never asked, because they'd have cleaned it up right away. And I feel like 87 and running is going to do great things. And I think he's got a big heart, and I think he's a good dude. I think he's become a good dude. I think he was a little troubled when he first got here, but a lot of 22-year-old young men are troubled. I've certainly had my issues, let me tell you. But he's really turned into something else, and I think that's a good thing. And it's great to hear him say on his podcast that if his body is capable of it, he'd come back and play in an instant. What that looks like, he didn't say. It's going to take a restructure to stay with the Chiefs. Or maybe he's thinking, I could play a year for the Rams out in Los Angeles. Taylor can record an album. We can meet all the Hollywood people while we're there and go to a winner. Because I don't think anybody's looking at the Chiefs as some big winner in 2026. We'll watch the offseason. Nobody's saying they're out of anything, okay? But I think a really rapid turnaround, as good as the Chargers and Broncos have gotten, is going to make this very, very, very difficult. Patrick Tuohy was on with Pete Mundo earlier today, and he still thinks the Chiefs are going to be at Arrowhead. I can't tell you how much I respect Patrick Tuohy, and I can't tell you what different worlds we live in. I've been in a sports world my whole life. I've seen this play out over and over in every city in America. Teams go to the best offer. And if you're looking at it, is this the best offer for Kansas? You're looking at it the wrong way. And that's the way he's looking at it. He's like, well, this thing could fall through. There's this problem and there's that problem. You think Kansas officials at this point are going to let this fall through? Let me remind everybody that hates star bonds and thinks this is a terrible thing, and maybe it is. I don't know that the finances add up this time on this one, but they certainly have on the others. They've added a lot of things to Wyandotte County that were never there. A lot of jobs. We had people called yesterday complaining that they're paying more in taxes because their property's worth so much. Well, yeah, nobody was buying property in Wyandotte County 30 years ago before star bonds. Nobody. There would be no Buc-ee's coming. None of this stuff would be coming, folks. None of it. It was dead. It was the armpit of Kansas City. It really was. And now it's not. That's progress for Kansas. They need people. We talked about this yesterday. But, ultimately, you got people saying that this is a bad deal for the state of Kansas, and Tuohy believes because it's a bad deal for the state of Kansas that the Chiefs are going to go back to Arrowhead. The Chiefs don't care if it's a bad deal for Kansas at all. They want a shiny new stadium. Nobody wants to address this, okay? Nobody renovates stadiums anymore. Most cities, it's a running joke. It's a 30-year cycle. And Denver's doing it less than that. Denver's doing it after 21 years. They've announced a new stadium. 21 in the current stadium they're in. They've announced another new one. Nobody renovates. New innovations come along and you build new, okay? So I've had an advantage over a lot of guys like Tui on this issue, not because he's not a really smart guy. He just hasn't lived in this world. This is a business I've been in a long time. The Chiefs want a new stadium. Kansas is building it without a vote. They're going to take it, and they really don't care what happens to Kansas. Sorry, they don't. It's not what they're in it for. They're in it for the Chiefs. And now we're getting reports all over town that the Royals' only shot in Missouri is with no vote. Because what we're hearing the movers and shakers in Jackson County, Kansas City, Missouri, Clay County say about the Royals is, we got to find a way to do this with no vote. Now, maybe the governor comes in, maybe they get the legislature open again and they change the 50% to 70% and say, the state will just pay for this, Royals. We'll fund your project, pick your site. Maybe that's what's going to have to happen. But I think the Royals have made it clear to everyone, we are not getting embarrassed at the polls again. And despite the facts that Dan Hawkins has said they're closed for business, the Star Bonds are gone in Kansas, that's not true. We had Ty Masterson say before the end of the year that the Royals had already qualified. They'd already done enough by December 31st to keep the Star Bonds alive for them, that they've done that, and they have until June 30th to finalize any plans. The Chiefs don't have final plans. They just accepted. They basically walked up to the microphone and said, we accept your offer. We'll let you know in about 3 months exactly what we're doing. And we have until June 30th to decide it. I think the Royals, personally, I think they're in the exact same situation. I just don't think they've done this publicly. I don't think they wanted to stand there with Overland Park officials like the Chiefs did with Olathe. I don't think they want to be committed to anything just yet. The teams are looking at their deadline as June 30th. The Chiefs have said Kansas is it for us. I still think Kansas is the overwhelming favorite for the Royals unless the state of Missouri does something dramatic. The state of Missouri. They're not going to win a vote. They're not going to win a vote in Jackson County. They're not going to win one in Kansas City, Missouri. They have a better chance now that the Chiefs are leaving. They do have a better chance. But I don't think they're looking at polling right now saying, we're going to tax us to keep the Royals from going to Kansas. The number of people that are screaming mad over the Chiefs leaving are not enough to win the vote. And would those people be so pro-tax, they'd say, let's show Kansas. Let's go give some of my money to keep them here from going to Kansas. One thing to complain about something, it's another to spend your own money on it. And that's where all this is. When Uncanceled returns, Mark will join us. We'll talk about that amazing KU win last night. And Tiger Woods is throwing a 50th birthday party for himself. You have to hear what he's doing for himself for his own birthday next on KCMO.
From Leewood to Liberty, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Hey, don't forget to text that keyword party to 95819. Party to 95819. Your chance to go to the Stagecoach Music Festival in California and meet Riley Green, courtesy of KCMO Talk Radio. That'd be pretty cool stuff right there. Mark Van Sickle joining us now. Have you ever seen a comeback quite like the game last night as Kansas beats TCU 104-100?
No, that was absolutely insane. I did not think that would happen at all.
How many people, what percentage of people do you think turned that game off?
I'd say about half.
Yeah. Now, diehard Kansas fans wouldn't. You're going to hang in there because you've seen your team come back before and win games like that. But it was dire. It was like 15 points with 5 minutes to go, and it just looked completely desperate. TCU was complicit. They were awful. It's too easy to say TCU peed down their leg, which they kind of did. But Bill Self has made a living winning games like this. Great coaches do that. They had to make every tactical move just right and get it just right. So what was the most incredible part of the comeback? I'm guaranteeing you mine was different than yours.
What
Did
was
you have
that?
a moment where you just went, okay, wow?
Mm-hmm. I mean, mine would have to be Darren Peterson taking himself out and then coming back in with 5 seconds left.
Okay. All right. So it was right after that for me.
Okay.
He gets fouled and made all 3 free throws. It wasn't that he made all 3 of them. That's happened before, to tie the game and send it to overtime. It's how he did it. I mean, he looked like he was just in the gym practicing some drill. It was like the easiest thing in the world for him. Did you not think those were the least dramatic 3 free throws you ever saw in your life?
Yeah, like nobody thought that he would miss them, his teammates included. They just let him go.
Fran Fraschilla's on there going, he ain't missing these. I'm like, what? What? The entire game is on the line. I don't care if you're Michael Jordan. It's not easy.
And he had just taken himself out of the game and
He's
wasn't going to play again.
for crying out loud. He's got cramps. He just came out of the game. Oh, my God, that was incredible. I'm sorry. That's not getting enough attention today. Mm-hmm. I thought it was remarkable. That guy's, you always say a person has ice water in their veins, whatever. He has it, man. Darren Peterson has that.
He looks like if they had forced Kobe to go to college for a year.
Yes, well, it's generational. I've got a friend that's younger than me, about your age, that says the same thing, and I see Michael Jordan. I don't see Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's who you saw. I mean, there was a lot of comparisons between Michael Jordan and Kobe, the way they played the game and their greatness. But yes, you're exactly right. There's no question. They got to get him healthy. Bill Self said afterwards that we still haven't learned to play with him. Well, that's pretty good because he scored 32 points.
Yeah.
You got a guy scoring 32 in a 40-minute game, and he didn't even play that many. You're playing with him probably okay. I don't expect you and I will get invitations to this, Mark, but Tiger Woods is throwing a birthday party for himself at the Breakers in Palm Beach, Florida. He's inviting 300 guests. Bon Jovi will be the entertainment, and the dress code is a touch of red. Tiger's known for wearing red on Sundays in all the tournaments that he won. I think what he's saying is don't you dare show up in all red, but you better have a little bit of red on. What do you make of this?
That's kind of funny. I want to see the list of people that are invited to this thing because obviously, like you said, we're not invited, but I'd like to see who is going to be there.
Do you think Trump is there?
I think he's invited. I don't know if he's going to go. I think he's invited, though.
I think he will try. They're neighbors, by the way. It's really close to Mar-a-Lago where he lives. They're all those people are all really right within a very, very close proximity. It'll be interesting. There'll be obviously a lot of golfers and celebrities and entertainers, but know this about Tiger Woods. He is wildly conservative. Most people in sports and stuff that are conservative don't really say a lot, whatever. Tiger is and always has been. The day I was like, okay, Tiger's different. When they asked him, he doesn't say this anymore. They asked him very early in his career if he was black. Does he see himself as African-American? And he said, no, I'm Cablinasian. And I was like, this guy's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's great. The dinner menu will be Masters Champions dinner menu. There you go. Saturday night, Bears-Packers, best game of the weekend, right? We agree? Best wild card round game?
Yeah,
Packers and
it's
Bears?
crazy. They're a rivalry, and they've only played three. This is going to be their third time ever playing the playoffs.
Wow.
I thought they would have played more than that. But
yeah, I think for a lot of years you had to win the division to be in, so you couldn't play against each other. But 96 of the top 100 television shows of 2025 were NFL football games, and the NFL is putting this one on Prime Video.
Oh, that's so lame.
It's the best. Everybody says this is the best game of the weekend. It's on Prime Video.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of numbers they get. And I heard Pete say it costs you $100 to watch these games. Folks, the cord cutting, reattach the cord, okay? I've got old man cable, and I've got all these things included. I'm not spending $100 watching the football this weekend. I got all these channels.
It's good.
Spectrum has like 9 streaming services included in the premium package. You don't pay any extra for them. You just have them.
That's the way to go, I think.
That is the way to go. And I've been asking for years, why don't the cable operators bring the streamers in and split the cost with them and get the streamers? And there's ads on there, but I don't mind watching ads if it's just included for free.
Yeah.
Totally good with that. That's how we'll be watching this weekend. All right, buddy. Thanks for another great show. Mark Van Sickle in studio. The Vince Show coming up next. I'm Kevin Kietzman. This is Uncanceled. We're back tomorrow on KCMO Talk Radio.